brought to this house, sir, but I would want to begin by thanking the Prime Minister, really, in her wisdom, having created a Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Blue Economy to focus primarily on issues pertaining to the ocean. Sir, it was clear when we came into office, the Minister spoke of the audit that was done in 2018, sir. And that audit revealed a number of very scary things for Barbados. In fact, sir, the audit would suggest that Barbados had a very underdeveloped or undeveloped maritime infrastructure, sir, in relation to its legislation, its physical infrastructure, its institutions, its personnel, and so on, sir. And I think the PM in her wisdom was suggesting that we needed to get it right, at least lay the groundwork to begin to rebuild that sector, sir. And the Honourable Member for St. Michael West Central is doing a brilliant job, sir, in bringing these things to this place and bringing Barbados into the modern era. Thank you. Sir, during that audit, sir, and the quote is that it was observed that there was no legislation or policy developed for the implementation and enforcement of the requirements stemming from the IMO instruments, which would be applicable to vessels on domestic voyages, sir. It said that there was no legislation or policy developed. In other words, sir, we made all these commitments and we put nothing in place to make sure that we could bring true the truest manifestation of the promises that we made. And this bill, like the file bill that the minister brought earlier, like the merchant suite of legislation that the minister will bring, in relation to the emissions, I know at some point that we have to bring, the fisheries management and legislation that we also have to bring, sir. All these things, a whole range of them, sir, to make us a more relevant country in relation to the International Maritime Organization and our own focus on the maritime space. Sir, I hold the view very strongly that this bill, while the minister said it is a technical bill, and I agree, it is a very technical bill. Maritime is a very technical space. Those who sacrifice all of their years and put their life into this work, like Ms. Blackman and so on, sir, would know that this is a very technical space, sir. I had the privilege of being taught by the best for the few years that I was in the ministry. It is a very technical space. But if we don't get these technical things right, and I'm very pleased that the minister went through it in such detail, because if we do not get these technical things right, we will not reap the benefit of the real things, the practical things. And this is a technical bill, sir, but it has very practical implications, sir. And I believe, sir, that we have now to redesign our overall architecture. We have to make sure, sir, that the architecture reflects that which we wish for Barbados, sir, so that Barbados can become a serious space for maritime, both at the domestic level and at the international level. For ships over 150 gross tons at the merchant level and under 150 gross tons at the domestic level. It is very, 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 very important, sir. We stand, sir, to put ourselves in a position where we can reap significant economic benefit. Significant economic benefit, sir, if we get this right. The reality is that when I took up the position, sir, as minister, many things came to me. We discussed, in relation to the international level, sir, we discussed the ship registry, which will be in the merchant suite. We discussed the ship registry, and how do we make that more profitable? How do we put Barbados as a brand, sir? I felt very strongly that Barbados should have a position on the International Maritime Organization, and that we should be in a position, sir, of putting our footprint and our viewpoint to the world and influencing the world. But it became very difficult so to do when our own architecture was too weak. We could not command the space because our legislation was not strong enough, and our personnel, sir, was not big enough and large enough, sir, to be taken as a serious space. And so while we felt that we wanted to expand the ship registry, it became very clear to me that the issues there were in relation to legislation. So that if we got the legislation right, then it would allow us to be in a position, sir, to generate revenue. If there's one thing that I know about the shipping space, sir, is that ships and persons in that space are like certainty. This legislation, sir, gives us certainty, it gives us clarity in relation to who is responsible for what, when is what supposed to be delivered, who is supposed to deliver it, those things, sir. If there are cases to be heard, sir, the seafarers legislation that is coming, sir, that will protect Barbadian seafarers, sir, also give that level of certainty. There is a lot of work, sir, that is done in this space, sir. I commend the officers, sir. And I look forward to all of these bills being debated. Technical or not, sir, this is what is going to make a significant difference for Barbados. You know, when we were young, sir, the constituency that I represent in St. Michael South, the Bayland, was known for seamen. Like, there were seamen all over Barbados, but the Bayland was a place, sir, if you were, all these, there was a place known for many men who worked the sea. Seafarers. No, back in the day, we didn't say no seafarers. Say he was a seaman. I take the language of the leader of the opposition and say in a mature discussion, with mature personnel, sir, men who worked the sea that were back then called seamen. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, but those days are gone. You know, you used to leave the Bayland and just walk down to the Carina, just walk into town. Somebody may say, you know, the vessel's hiring. And there and then, sir, you just got a pot home. If you don't have it on, you get an ID. And before you know it, you're on a ship. You're a seaman. You gone and you left Barbados, sir, and you worked the sea for years. But those days are done. And Barbados has to build out the capacity to generate the kind of seafarers, sir, that would allow us, sir, to reach these opportunities. The minister spoke of the training that we are doing, sir. There's a STCW course, the standard, it's called the Standard of Training Certification of Watchkeeping. It's perhaps the most important thing for people who want to work the sea. And we found, sir, that in Barbados, we couldn't offer the training. I mean, you could offer the training, but you could not offer the certification. We started it, sir, when I was there. The minister has continued it, in fact, and built on it, sir, and made it a lot more bountiful, sir. But Barbados still has to put itself right now in a position, sir, where we still have to go to another country to be certified. And until we pass the legislation, this and the immersion suite of legislation, sir, we cannot certify Barbadian seafarers. And this legislation, sir, in conjunction with the larger piece of legislation, the immersion suite, in conjunction with the seafarers legislation, says to the world that Barbados is a serious space. But that STCW training that the minister spoke of, that will be done at the Polytechnic, SJPI, and also now at BIMAP, sir, would allow us to train up a number of persons. I also feel, sir, in this new space where I sit, and I've communicated this, that a number of these positions, I hope, would go to a number of the people who are the most vulnerable. So that we have to have a deliberate policy of hiring, almost like positive discrimination or affirmative action, so to speak. So that the people who are in my one family program, the 1,000 most vulnerable families, sir, can find opportunity on the sea. So that we start picking from these persons, sir, to break the cycle of poverty as the inevitable economic opportunity comes. Because with this kind of work that is being done in that space, sir, economic opportunity is inevitable. But I hope that we can benefit all of us, sir, from the economic opportunity that is to come, sir. I would also want to say, sir, that the most consultation, I think, sir, that was done in that space was done during the time I was there and during the time now that the minister is here. Sir, the persons who operate the smaller vessels will tell you that for a long time, they did not feel that they were an important part of seafaring, of shipping, and so on in Barbados. And that many people refused to have conversations with them, sir, on the issues, the day-to-day issues that affected their lives. The space, sir, that fed their children and their grandchildren. And way back, sir, in 2019, 2020, sir, these conversations started. And I know the minister continued with earnest, sir, when he took up the post, sir, to continue those conversations. We encouraged that space to form a group, to come together, I would say, at all the meetings, form a body, put some pressure on the government. You can't come and negotiate one, form a body. And they did, sir, I think it is called boats. I think it's called boats, sir, for the smaller vessels, sir, to be able to negotiate for themselves, to have those conversations with the mighty powerful port so that they could get treated well, sir. And I must say, sir, that in Barbados, sir, the port is perhaps the most generous public institution, sir, that, even compared to the private sector that I've seen, sir, in relation to the work that they do to help smaller people in this country, the work that they're doing for the fish markets and so on. I must commend the port, sir, for being a very good partner to the average Barbadian. But we encourage them, sir, to form smaller bodies, to to form a body, sir, that could negotiate on their behalf. And that this legislation, sir, was not written in the sky. It reflects the will, the interest, and the input of the persons, sir, who operate the smaller vessels. I remember during COVID how difficult it was, sir, for a number of those smaller vessels, the operators. I remember the generosity of the port during that period to make sure that people could eat the food, sir. And as we build out and continue to build out, sir, it has to be that we do so in partnership. And that this legislation, sir, speaks to the kind of partnership, sir, that we have to have, sir, as we continue to build out Barbados, sir. You know, we speak a lot about climate change, sir, but it is a reality. We've seen it. We know what climate change is doing, sir. We know why we need to have mitigation and adaptation built in, sir. This bill does it. We know why we have to do it. Many people, sir, are watching their vessels, sir, being tossed and turned, sir, as the ocean becomes warmer, sir. As that space becomes even more difficult for people now to generate revenue, sir. More and more difficult, sir. We're dealing, I'm sure the Honourable Minister of Environment will speak to it, sir, but we're dealing with sargassum, seaweed, and the difficulty that it poses for them, sir. A sargassum floods the shore, and the vessels, sir, now have to navigate through that, sir. So this legislation, sir, also speaks to the smaller vessels, the jet ski operators. And again, I remember, sir, at one of those consultations, a jet ski operator, in his own honest evaluation of his own industry, while we were there, sir, and I want to commend the Marine Police because we were there with the Coast Guard, the Marine Police, the members of the port, the members of the then Ministry of Maritime. And that jet ski operator described the jet skis in the view of Barbadians as the ZRs of the sea. He said people see them as the ZRs of the sea, and that there was a need for them to conform themselves to some discipline and to present themselves on the ocean, sir, in a way that reflected not only the discipline, but reflected order. Some of them spoke, sir, because, sir, there's a way we judge people in Barbados, you know. You assume because a person doesn't wear a shirt and tie and a jacket in May, the hottest month of the year ever in Barbados. I look forward to the day when we don't have to be wearing these things. But you might think, sir, that because a person is bareback in shorts and riding a jet ski, sir, not you, but people, may assume that these men are not of advanced intelligence. The people who operate these vessels, sir, are of advanced intelligence. And certainly they are of advanced knowledge when it comes to the knowledge of the sea. And the reverse is also true. You may assume jacket and tie assumes or equates to intelligence. So we've come to realize, sir. Anyway. But Mr. Speaker, sir, at the end of the day, sir, when we started having those conversations with the jet ski operators, sir, these men started telling us about the need to go digital, being able to take payments on cell phones and different ways, sir, of making sure that they could generate revenue in a way that was orderly. You would assume that most of the jet ski operators do not want order. You may assume that most of the ZR operators do not want order. That would be untrue. Lie is unparliamentary. That would be untrue. Because most of the persons who operate in this space do want order. But there are always bad apples out there trying to spoil the whole bunch, sir. You have ZR operators, sir, running around, driving through Lanes Road, coming where we've been begging for some humps. The minister responsible for South Central and myself. Up and down the road, sir, like the road belonged to them. You see jet ski operators doing the same thing. I remember one day we left Cabinet, sir, in Bay Street, looking over the lovely Carlisle Bay in my constituency. And there was jet ski operators doing figure eights and coming close to the shore and trying to see who could generate the most water kick up. Recklessness right in front of the Parliament, sir. That is why this legislation, sir, is so important. We have to bring order, sir. And I'm saying to you that for the most part, the persons who operate the jet skis actually do want the order. And, you know, I take the point, sir, raised by the leader of the opposition, sir, in relation to finding a way to enforce, sir, but I'm saying that the first order of business must be voluntary compliance. And that a lot of that can be generated from conversation, maintenance, maintaining the partnership, having the jet skis regulate themselves. But where that fails, the legislation, sir, speaks to what the minister is able to do, sir. And therefore, sir, at the end of the day, sir, I look forward to the minister being able to do that work. Sir, at clause 305 in this bill, speaks to the minister having the power to make regulations for, and it lists a number of things. The minister having the power, sir, to make regulations for from A to almost the entire alphabet, from A to Z. The entire alphabet, sir, at clause 305. The minister, sir, has the capacity to make these regulations, sir. And I must tell you that I've already seen in my time, and I'm sure it's been developed more in the minister's time, a number of the pieces of things that are to go into the regulations. We had already started, sir, putting those buoys, people call them, on the sea, sir. We'd identify specific locations that would serve as lanes for the jet ski operators. Once they reach a certain distance from the shoreline, they have then to come in and out using these lanes. And these lanes, sir, would allow bathers to swim safely on shore and not come into these lanes. So you could see from the land, sir, whether the jet ski operator is within the lanes that we had established or not. And when these regulations pass, sir, you can make sure, sir, you can guarantee, as much as you can guarantee, but you can enforce whether when the jet skis get closer to shore, the small vessels, not only the jet skis, get closer to shore, whether they are within these spaces or not, sir. So it allows you to make to enforce the legislation, sir, in a way that makes sense, sir. Sir, also in the second schedule, sir, to this bill, on page, well, I shouldn't say the page, but in the second schedule to this bill, sir, there are a number of fees for breaches that are listed. This is an opportunity for the country, sir, to generate revenue, sir. It is also a good thing because the bill reflects the position of the government that we do not wish to criminalize people for things, sir, that are not necessarily criminal offenses in their nature. So we're issuing tickets, sir, the types of tickets, sir, from the maritime safety breach tickets, all listed, sir, in the second schedule, which would allow us also to generate revenue without criminalizing people. But of course, if you continue to mash the crease, eventually something gotta happen. So this bill, sir, is a bill, sir, that does not criminalize. It is a bill, sir, that is extensive in its nature. It is part of our wider architecture in relation to what we're doing in the merchant shipping space, sir, what we're doing for seafarers. It gives the level of certainty that is necessary, sir. I am happy that it is now fitted again within the Ministry of Tourism, sir, because it allows us to really reflect, sir. You took it out for a minute to fix it, put it back, sir, and build on it. Therefore, sir, as we go forward, sir, I believe that Barbados will be a lot better off for the work that is being done by the Minister for St. Michael West Central and his team, sir. And this bill, sir, did not just fall out the air. There was an extensive policy brought to Cabinet, agreed upon at Cabinet, that informed this bill, sir. So yes, sir, this bill is a technical bill, sir, but this bill is also about real life. And I look forward to us being in a position, sir, to generate the economic activity, to hire the Barbadians to do these jobs. And the minister mentioned some of these jobs. I think they're going to be even more jobs than I or he or the minister could possibly imagine because of the work we're doing, sir. And I look forward to us building out the space and giving all of the necessary support to be able to do the things that we are supposed to do. So with those few words, sir, I just wish to say that I support this bill fully. I think it is going to be transformative, sir. I think it is going to put Barbados on the map, sir. And I look forward to the day-to-day implementation, but the day-to-day results as a result of this bill. With those few words, sir, I thank you.
Honourable Member for Christchurch West.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that this Honourable House be adjourned to 2:15.
Suspended.
Sorry, that's suspended. I apologize. Suspended. Yeah, we suspended for lunch. Yeah. No, suspended for lunch. For
Until?
2:15.
The question is that this honourable chairman be suspended until 2:15 p.m. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. You think the ayes have it. This honorable chairman stands suspended until 2:15 p.m.